Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am so excited for today's video because as you can tell from the background, we are getting very festive and we're officially getting our house ready for the holidays. It is actually December 1st as I'm filming this intro, and usually I start decorating before Thanksgiving, but this year nothing was really set up until now. So last week we finished the dining room and this main living area is now ready. And I always feel like a place doesn't start feeling like home until you start decorating for the holidays and making it super cozy. And right now we're at a really good place to start making it feel festive. So we have our tree up, but I don't know if you can tell, it's looking very empty still. So I have a couple of DIYs for that. I want to try out a bunch of different ideas and I hope this gives you some inspo. So let's jump right into it. Every year I have to make a wreath, and you might have remembered last year I made a ginormous wreath. I think it was like 3 feet or 4 feet wide. I just really enjoy making them, and every year is a little bit different. And this year I decided that I wanted to make a celestial star themed one. I was on Instagram the other day and I saw Hot Pink Pineapples make this beautiful wreath. It's actually inspired by a tree topper from Anthropologie, which I think is gorgeous. I always get so much holiday inspiration just from Anthropologie's site every year. They're always just so detailed and unique, and last year's theme was actually Anthro inspired, so if you guys want to check that out, I will have it linked below. For this year's theme, I'm really leaning towards a brassy vintage look. We're gonna start with 2 brass rings, and I just thought this would look so magical just hung over a mirror or in a window. So let's make our own version. I made the outer ring just a little bit smaller because I felt like it didn't look proportional, so I'm just going to hot glue that and then add some wire. Then for the base of this wreath, we're gonna use more of that wire to twist it on, and I actually learned that it's easier to wrap it around a couple of times, that way it's a little bit sturdy, and then you could add a little dot of glue on the back. I grabbed a variety of stars in different sizes, and some of these are actually stickers because I couldn't find any more wood pieces. So just use what you have, and I'm just gluing that right onto the wire and trying to make it look as whimsical as possible. So I'm placing all the different sizes around the whole ring, and afterwards I'm actually going to spray this in gold so that everything matches. There's just something about the holidays that always sparks so much creativity for me, and I think it's just so much fun to create a new DIY every year around this time. Especially when it gets colder and darker out, I feel like I just spend so much more time inside, and DIYing is just the best way to cozy up and pass the time by. Christmas isn't complete unless you put up a little tiny Christmas village. Every year I usually do a white little Christmas village with little cabins and houses, but this year I wanted to do something a little bit different, so I grabbed these. They were actually half off, so I think they were only like $5 or $6 each, and they also light up. Oh, forgot to do this. It should light up. How freaking cute is this? These are really nice because they're wood, and they also have a little bit of a pattern on here, so you could definitely follow that if you want to. So these 2 are houses, and this one is a little coffee shop, so if you wanted to, you can kind of just paint it in, kind of like a coloring book. But I actually want these to look like gingerbread houses, so I was very inspired by these little pieces from Mackenzie Child, or is it Mackenzie Childs? I need to look this up. Okay, Mackenzie Childs. And one of these little houses is literally $898, which is pretty steep, but I'm pretty sure it's all like hand painted. It's also ceramic, but I'm not gonna spend $900 when I can make my own version that I can customize myself. So that is what we're gonna do today. I am first actually going to fill up some of these little corners. So these are kind of just put together like a puzzle. So I'm gonna use some wood filler just to fill this up a little bit, and then I'm gonna go all over with a base color. 'Tis the season to paint holiday houses. Is this one broken? For the second layer, I'm adding in some baking soda just to give it a little bit of texture, and I feel like this made it really look like a gingerbread. After letting it dry overnight, I'm going straight onto the houses with the design, and I'm using reference photos just to kind of get an idea of what I was gonna do. I was very tempted to draw it out first, but gingerbread houses are not perfect, and that's definitely what adds to the charm of them. I've seen people use joint compound in a piping bag to make it look like icing, but I honestly think that can look pretty messy pretty quickly. So I chose to use puffy paint to still give me that 3D look, but you just have so much more control with this. If you want the icing to be even thicker, I would suggest doing different layers, but keep in mind that as this dried, the paint kind of flattens out a bit. My favorite part of this is definitely the little bows on the windows. I just really love the look of them. And I think the biggest trick here is to fill up the empty spaces with little dots and swirls, and that is really gonna give it that cute, whimsical look. I just had so much fun with this project. It was definitely more fun than doing a real gingerbread because this one I had a lot more control of. And now I want to do this every year and just keep adding to my gingerbread house collection because I am in love with these. We are gonna make some of our own ornaments, and if you're like me and you go to the store, usually they don't have a color palette that is exactly to your liking. I usually will like 1 or 2 colors in the set, but not the entire thing, so it's kind of a waste when I buy those. So instead, I like to make my own. So I wanna show you guys 2 different ways to DIY your ornaments. So for the smaller ones, I wanna make a flocked look. This is honestly very easy from the tutorials that I've seen, so I'm hoping it turns out as good as I think it will. So these are gonna be very matte, so for the larger ones, I want to contrast them and make them shiny and sparkly. So we're gonna do a mercury glass look. Usually mercury glass is silver, but I wanna add kind of a bronzy coppery look because again, I'm going with a brown theme. So I'm gonna tie that together and I think it's gonna look good. So I'm gonna start by priming these with the spray paint, and that will make it a lot easier to paint over. So you might notice that I am talking in this clip and there is no audio, and I unfortunately did not plug in my mic all the way. So here we are with the voiceover, and I am totally kicking myself right now because I did have real-time reactions to everything I was doing. I ran into some issues, so I will go over that later, but here I was basically explaining that I primed all the ornaments and then I'm just gonna go on top with the craft paint. You definitely want to do more than one coat with this, and I stuck with browns and also a cream and green because I feel like those colors just are so cozy together. I let that dry down completely, and then we're gonna go over with a second coat, and this time around we're actually going to add some flour on top of it while it's wet. This is where the magic happens, and it's gonna give us a beautiful flocked look. I used a strainer just to get an even sprinkle, and you wanna let this completely dry down. So I alternated between painting and sprinkling, and with this, you just wanna make sure that you get an even coat and that you have paint all over the entire thing, otherwise the flour will not stick. You can let this sit overnight, but I honestly was too excited, so I only waited a couple of hours. And with a fluffy brush, you're going to dust off that excess flour, and you guys, these were literally perfect. I was a little bit skeptical if this was gonna work or not, but honestly, this just gives you so much texture, and it's a must try, especially if you wanna get a flocked ornament look for cheap, and it was so easy to do. Time to work on the mercury glass ornaments, and you want to start by using a mirror spray paint. It's not going to work without it. Trust me, I tried. And we're going to give a couple of sprays into the ornament and swirl it around to try to get an even layer. To dry it, I'm going to hit it with a blow dryer, and you are going to see the mirror effect work in real time, which I thought was really cool. I did a second coat of this, and again, we're going to dry it in between. So I mentioned earlier that I did run into some issues with the ornaments, and that's because I was using plastic ornaments, and that just will not work for this. I was using my hairdryer at literally the highest heat setting, and it melted the plastic, so I went back out and got glass ones, and this worked out so much better. With a solution of half vinegar and half water, you want to spritz that into the ornament and let it sit for about 30 seconds, and after that, we're going to shake it. This is actually going to lift up some of that paint, and it's going to give us that splotchy mercury glass look. You want to repeat this process a couple of times until you're happy with it, so I would say probably 4 to 5 coats would work, but I wanted to add in some copper underneath, so I actually only did 2 coats of the silver, and then I went in with the other spray paint to give it more dimension. I found this to be really experimental, so you can try it with brass or gold or bronze, and it's just gonna give you such a cool texture. You can do as many layers as you want. I was honestly surprised by how easy this was because mercury glass ornaments can get pretty pricey, and this is such a fun and easy way to do it. Today we are going to get started with actually decorating everything, but before we get into it, I need to do one last DIY. Recently I've gotten down a deep hole of watching snow window art. It is so beautiful. Some people are so talented and get so creative with it, and I just really wanted to try it this year, so I went out and bought some snow spray. I had to go to Walgreens to buy this because I could not find it in any craft store. It might just be sold out right now. So I will link a couple of options for you, and this is actually really easy to clean up. You can just spray it onto your windows and then wipe it off with just water when you're done. We're really lucky to have some really big windows here, so I want to take advantage of that and add some snow here in Southern California. It definitely doesn't feel like winter here because I walk outside and I see palm trees, so I'm hoping that this will just give me all of the wintry vibes. I'm actually gonna start with the window and do kind of the easiest project, so you just need the spray, some tape, and then some chalk markers. I had to do a little bit of math just to make sure everything was even, and I'm gonna go in with painter's tape to create a window pane grid look. This part is optional, but I wanted to add some detailing, so I'm gonna use a chalk marker and just add little snowflakes and stars all around the perimeter. I honestly should have done it a little bit further from the edge because you're gonna see that the snow spray paint actually covers them. So definitely put them closer to the center than I did. Now I'm going in with the snow spray, and I'm concentrating most of it by the tape, and then as we get towards the center, we're just going to fade it in to give us that frosty window look. This really does look like snow, and I think it's a great project to do, especially if you're a beginner to snow window art, and I just really love the effect of it. We spent Thanksgiving with just the 2 of us, and without a dining room, it really didn't feel like the holidays were here. So in just 2 weeks, getting this whole floor set up has truly made this apartment feel like ours. And even though I'm definitely a summer person, there's just something about creating a cozy home in the winter time that just gives you the best feeling. These sewing windows are gonna look even better at nighttime. I feel like it's just a whole mood, and I can't wait to cozy up down here and read a good book. are so precious, and it looks even better when you turn the light on. I think I'm going to style them here on the sideboard, and I'm also going to hang some garland over here and put stockings down. Since we don't have a fireplace, this is a great spot to do that, and you could also do it on your media console, which is usually what I do when I don't have a fireplace. So I grabbed a bunch of these. This is a cedar garland from Michael's. It always sells out, so I was lucky enough to grab a few, and these were actually on sale, and I just love how it drapes, so I think it's gonna be perfect over here. We're gonna use some command hooks and put it all across the slant. Is this even on straight? That is definitely not straight. It feels so warm and cozy in here, and honestly just makes this place feel like home. This is why I love decorating for the holidays so much, and I just love all the DIYs that we made. It came together so well. I hope it gave you some good ideas, because all these projects can definitely be done over a weekend. Let me know in the comments which one was your favorite, and also tell me what your holiday theme is this year. I love seeing everyone's different styles. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up down below, and also subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos. That's all for me today. Thank you so much for watching. Stay inspired, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!